All right, Chris. Outside of Atlanta, Tampa, New Orleans, outside of those three teams, who on the Panthers schedule this year do you like the least or dislike the most? However you want to say it. I know you're a likes guy. I don't want to say hate. Hate's a strong word. And why is it
Do
the
I hate?
Cowboys?
Yeah, yeah, it's got to be Dallas.
Yeah,
It's got to be Dallas.
It's got to be
Yeah.
Dallas.
And we got to pay them back for last year with the guy that you hit us up with.
Right?
Take Miles Sanders and try to do something with him.
Good luck. Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Let's huddle up for Panthers Playbook. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. Folks, on the Panthers schedule this season, which team do you like the least? Again, outside of the division. By the way, we asked everyone last week, who in the division do you hate the most? And there's a pretty even split between New Orleans and Atlanta, Chris. Pretty even split between those two teams, and I'm not shocked by that. Not shocked by that at all.
What's crazy about it is, like, I don't like Tampa, but they're not like a hateable team for some reason. Like, they were a lot more hateable with Brady. They were a lot more hateable with John Gruden back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But Warren Sapp made him likable. It was something about Warren Sapp.
Yeah, he was cool.
I think it left a lasting impression. So.
It did. It definitely did. But who are some of these young guys, some of these rookies, whether they're drafted or undrafted, that might help beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, the Cowboys, all these other teams? And from our impressions of what we were able to see out of rookie minicamp, Chris, you and I wanted before the draft was speed. Speed. And a guy that you love that was drafted in the 6th round, Jimmy Horn Jr., by all accounts, popped.
Listen,
Chris.
We're going to be X-heads, we're going to be Coke heads, and we're going to be horn dogs, because Jimmy Horn Jr., I think, is going to have a great impact on this team. I'm excited, really, to have him on the team. I've told you before, and I've said it on this show, and I've said it plenty of times, just in talking to friends or anybody who wants to talk to me about the Carolina Panthers in real life, that if the Carolina Panthers only chose Jimmy Horn Jr. as their only wide receiver in the draft, I would have been very happy with it, because I watched him at Colorado a lot. I thought he was a really good fit for them there. And he's literally what we asked the Carolina Panthers for coming out of this draft. I didn't expect him to have 2 wide receivers, but we have 2 wide receivers, and to see Jimmy Horn with all his speed out there is great. Here's the thing also that I like. We saw some video from rookie minicamp. We heard from reporters, and we're hearing things coming out of Carolina that this guy is impressing the coaches a lot more than everybody else early on. So it feels as if that he can have the best early impact possibly, on the team, offensively, I should say, because there's going to be some guys on defense that's going to make an impact. And I'm excited to see what the Carolina Panthers and Dave Canales, with his level of wide receivers, what he can do with a weapon like Jimmy Horn Jr., and how maybe he can use Jimmy Horn Jr. to get other people open, how he can create opportunities for other people with Jimmy Horn. So I saw something today. I don't know if this is going to be a stretch, but some people are saying they think Jimmy Horn Jr. could have an impact like Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, okay. Like not the Deshaun Jackson, not the biggest guy. That straight, I mean, that speed, that's the biggest thing. Someone that can take the top off the defense. That's a major thing that, again, you and I talked about, and by all accounts as well, Tedderell McMillan showed that smooth stride, that smooth running ability, that massive catch radius. Again, like pieces and receivers that complement each other. I think that's something that this team needed last year, and this offense needed in particular, Chris, was they needed someone with that speed and that elusiveness that can work between the hash marks, that can work in the middle field. Maybe Jimmy Horn could also play on the outside. I mean, again, we'll see what that's going to look like with Dave Canales, because you have all this size that can play on the perimeter, obviously with McMillan in his 6'4" frame. So I'm curious to see how things are going to work out. But another name that keeps popping up is Kobe Hudson, the undrafted free agent out of Central Florida. His name keeps popping up as well. And a lot of people, I mean, Chris, you told this to me off air about a week or so ago, that a lot of people think like, hey, maybe that's this year's Jalen Coker, the undrafted free agent that can maybe show something. Now, when they actually get pads on, they actually get to play, 11 on 11, we'll see how that stuff flashes. Again,
Kobe Hudson or Jacoby George? I've heard of Jacoby George being that.
I've heard both. I've heard both guys. I've heard both.
Okay.
But they may have found a guy or two, which it feels like, again, with the rookie mini camps, it's kind of hard to tell because you're not wearing pads. You're not actually running, drills. There's a lot of limitations by the league about what you're allowed to do. So, again, you're running routes on air. So, obviously, people are going to stand out a little bit more when you're a receiver. It's kind of hard to judge what a defensive tackle or an edge rusher is going to do because you're not going against anyone. But it feels like, by all accounts, Chris, something you and I talked about, there's going to be a lot of competition for wide receiver. Like, David Moore's going to get pushed. Hunter Renfrow, not a lock to make this team at all.
No.
After having sat out this past season, is only on a one-year deal. There's going to be a ton of competition for wide receiver. And then we all know that Dave Canales, like you said, loves to rotate his wide receivers depending on, different personnel groups, what he wants to do. He loves rotating guys in and out.
The Carolina Panthers have really a lot of good problems because if you do look at all 90 of the, on the roster right now, and you look at all the wide receivers within that 90-man roster, there's a lot to be excited about when it comes to that, right? Because there's a lot of different combinations you can have. I'll say this. The thing that Hunter Renfrow and Adam Thielen both have on their side that everybody else doesn't necessarily have outside of David Moore is experience.
Yeah.
Because you have and the craftiness, so that's one of the things where you're right. I don't think he's a lock, but I don't think that he has to necessarily flash at his best, right? Because they understand he's coming back from a year off. He was dealing with his illness, and he lost a lot of weight down to 150, and he's working himself back. So he does have the experience and the craftiness on his side. But you look at all the possibility of the young people making this roster. Like, we like Jalen Coker, but there's going to be some guys coming after his job, right?
Oh yeah.
And him being an undrafted free agent rookie last year, it doesn't mean that his job is safe. Somebody like Xavier Legette, I would say his job is safe.
Sure.
But you really have to start producing because there's some people behind you that's waiting, to pretty much take that spot. I'm excited to see what the Carolina Panthers could do offensively. And I will say that I am a lot more excited about this wide receiver core and what it could possibly look like. I think more than any other team, I more than any other team for the Carolina Panthers in the past, just the Panthers, not any other team in the NFL.
No, yeah, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's I just want to make sure I was clear with that. But it's I think the versatility that could be with this core, depending on who's put together. You have Tet, Xavier, Jalen, the big long guys, that can catch almost anything, and can really put a lot of stress on smaller DBs. And then you have the crafty guy in Adam Thielen and also Hunter Renfrow. And then if you have the speed guy in Jimmy Horn Jr. And then last year they started the year with 7. Do you add a Jacoby George? Do you add a Kobe Hudson? You know what I'm saying? Do you add a Dan Chisena? Anybody like that? It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm excited just seeing what that wide receiver core looks like.
It's noticeably on paper. Again, these guys haven't played on the field yet together, but it's noticeably on paper much better than what it was 2 months ago before the draft. Like, much better. And there was a major question mark going into this upcoming year. Like, okay, what else are you going to add to help Bryce? And I think that's something as well we have to take into consideration as well, is that, if Bryce is getting, again, on paper, these added weapons, added versatility, like you said, or versatility to the offense, like, how much is this going to benefit Bryce Young to have a speed guy in Jimmy Horn Jr.? Maybe Jadeveon Sanders, we hope, takes the next step. Maybe Mitchell Evans on that 10-yard split, he was like one of the fastest tight ends of anyone in the entire draft coming out, and that 10-yard split. Maybe having that guy that can possibly in 2 tight end sets can get open along with JT Sanders as well in the middle of the field. Again, it might be for a 7-8 yard gain, but now you're 2nd and 2. Hey, now I turn and hand the ball to Chuba Hubbard. Guess what? And I pick up 5 more yards, 1st and 10. Let's keep things moving. You know, like that versatility is going to be a big thing. The Panthers last year ran 3 receiver sets 71 or 72% of the time. Ran 3 receiver sets. And Dave Canales loves rotating guys in.
Yeah.
If he has the ability to make it 65% and use multiple tight ends as well, and then also rotating guys in and out, hopefully everyone can find a role. Yeah. And maybe Jimmy Horn Jr.'s role also is helping with the return game. Yeah. Which is something that Travis Etienne can do. Like Raheem Blackshear is going to be pushed for a roster spot. David Moore is going to be pushed for a roster spot. The more that you can have on at your disposal, I mean, I know I'm excited for Bryce Young in this regard, but I'm excited for Dave Canales too, as a play caller, to have all these options. Like, I got chapters in the playbook that I wasn't able to open last year. Now I can. He might be able to cook, because we saw him get in his bag late in the year, Chris, last year. We saw Dave Canales, especially in that landing game, get in his bag.
Absolutely, he did. And that's a good point that you bring up, because there's a few things. I think a few times last year we were saying, we said this 2 years ago, that we wanted that the Carolina Panthers to use more motion before, like pre-snap, because it really didn't happen a lot under Frank Reich. They did a little bit more last year, but probably not to the level that we were satisfied with. Got Jimmy Horn Jr. now. Yeah. Right? Like, have that guy scatting around in the backfield and see how crazy things will go, for those DBs who was trying to figure out, okay, what's your assignment? What are we doing? What's the contingency plan if he were to come out? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that could happen with just that alone. And so you're absolutely correct. The different weapons and the versatility gives Dave Canales a lot more room to be creative. And when
don't forget, Tedero McMillan can run in the slot too, possibly.
Yes. And when you have the different people with the different skill sets and different things they can do, heck, you never know what could end up happening. We might even see Rico Dowdle out wide, at some point, because he can catch the ball out the backfield and he can run some routes as well. So it'll be interesting to see how all that is fit together. And I really hope that if Dave Canales loses sleep, he's losing sleep over all the great possibilities and nothing too stressful.
Great opportunity, Chris. Great opportunity.
Great time.
So Dave Canales is going to say, it's
great times
opportunity.
Ahead. Yeah.
Great opportunity. I feel great about playing football right now. That's a direct quote from Dave Canales.
Yes. Direct quote from him every day.
Yeah, I know. It really is. Yeah. I feel great about playing football right now. But I you know what? For him being a 3rd-year play caller, Bryce Young being a 3rd-year quarterback, this is a really young group. It's a really young group overall. Again, all the guys that we talked about, the skill position players, guys that we know are going to make the team that aren't on rookie contracts, skill position-wise, Tommy Tremble, Adam Thielen, Chuba, Rico Dowdle, like, that's it. Like, everyone else skill position-wise that should make the roster is on a rookie deal. Now, David Moore might, Hunter Renfrow might, but again, those guys aren't locks. They're not. There's a lot of young talent on this team, and I'm excited. All right, Chris, so talking about the defense, there's going to be a lot on the plate of the young edge rushers that were just drafted. Nick Scorton, Princely, Mielen, especially with Jadeveon Clowney not there. The only edge rusher right now that I feel there are 2 guys that are actually truly locks to make the team outside of those rookies are DJ Wanham and Pat Jones. Like, that's it. That's it. Nick Scorton's going to be relied upon a lot. Princely Mielen is going to be called upon a lot this upcoming season. And I like the fact that these 2 highly drafted rookies are going to play a lot right away. It seems that way. And in my opinion, they need to play right away.
They do need to play right away. And we saw last year where you had guys like Jadeveon Sanders and Trevin Wallace, who had a lot of playing time that they may not have had, if the Carolina Panthers, if Shaq Thompson, wasn't injured, does Trevin Wallace, play as much. Those are things to really kind of consider and to think about. But I think these guys will get that early playing time. They're going to need it, and they're going to develop early. Here's something else I'll add. One of the quiet parts about letting Jadeveon Clowney go is that, no, he's not a lock to make the team. But now you are looking DJ Johnson square in the face and saying, prove it. This is literally your prove it year. Not even a year. This is your prove it off season.
Yeah.
For us. Because we gave away assets. We traded up to go get you. You haven't shown us anything. Now, you're good at setting the edge. I think he's good at that, right? Like, he's good at setting that edge, and if there's a run, forcing a run on the inside or whatever. But outside of that, he hasn't really produced, hasn't really put up stats. And so letting Jadeveon Clowney go actually makes room for DJ Johnson on this roster.
Maybe.
If Jadeveon Clowney was on the roster, right? If he wasn't let go, you still had Pat Jones and then the two rookies that we brought in. I think DJ Johnson already knows that he's gone, right?
Oh yeah.
That opens up the possibility of that spot for him. And so I think that's going to be very interesting for him. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
There's still Amari Barno, who's when he wasn't hurt, big timer on special teams. And that's something you got to replace as well, because no Lonnie Johnson, no Sam Franklin, some of those core no Felipe Franks, those core four special teamers. Amari Barno can be that. Exactly. I don't know if DJ Johnson can be.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But as far as Nielen and Nick Scorton, I'm excited to see what those guys can do. And Nick Scorton feels like he can do a little bit of everything. Nielen feels like he's more of a third down. We got to go after third and long type of guy. We got to go after the passer. And so I want to see if he can develop into being able to play in more situations than just those. I do want to bring up a name, and I'm going to be real. I don't know a lot about this kid.
Okay.
But I've read a little bit about him. He's another undrafted free agent. And listen, we like to, if somebody reminds us of somebody that we're fond of, we like to place something on their shoulders. This may be unfair to this kid. Tuavisi Nomura from Fresno State, linebacker, undrafted free agent.
Okay.
He's somebody that a few people have been starting to talk about. He was a killer on the field at Fresno State, a sure tackler. He played like his hair was on fire. He was able to, play middle linebacker and go get people. He's also able to play on the line and go after the quarterback. Who does that sound like?
Sounds like, tell me.
Frankie Louvu.
Frankie Louvu.
I didn't want to just say that because they're both Pacific Islanders, but that's somebody that, like, as I was reading a little bit about everybody who's coming in, there were a lot of people who were excited about, especially because we said the linebacking core is a little thin for our liking.
Yeah.
We have Roseboom coming in, Trevin Wallace coming back for a second year, Josie Jewell with his second year with the team. Josie Jewell is going to be the guy with the green dot. But there's room for somebody else because, as we saw last season, there were injuries that happened, and you're going to need guys to step up because you might be down to Claude and Cherilus, And so how do you have people you can trust? And there's a few people that believe that Tuavisi Nomura could be that guy. We'll have to see, right? Nothing is guaranteed, but I just want to at least bring up his name. And he's not somebody that I watch. I didn't watch Fresno State football. I'm not going to even lie. Yeah. But I watched a few highlights. I did, not really a deep dive, but I read a little bit about him at Fresno State. Everything that I read about him checks out. Not sure why he didn't get drafted, but he's somebody that maybe it's because, it's a smaller conference. But, man, he seems like somebody who could possibly contribute to the Carolina Panthers if he were able to make the roster.
First team All Mountain West this past year. Might be, you never know, might be a special teams guy to start things off. You know who was also undrafted? The guy you just mentioned, Frankie Louvu. Frankie Louvu, an undrafted guy. Started his career being a special teams guy and eventually developed into what he is now. So you never know. You got to find those. You have to find those little diamonds in the rough. It's someone that could possibly contribute right away in a special teams role and then eventually can develop. You got to find those guys, those little diamonds in the rough. I'm excited for this upcoming year, Chris. I know there's still a long way to go for this Panthers team. Obviously, there's still an offseason you have to get through. You know, unfortunately, stuff's going to happen. Knocking on wood. No one gets hurt. No one gets nicked up. Hopefully, guys can stay healthy and train as opposed to get injured, then have to rehab to get ready just to play in the preseason or in the regular season. That's the last thing you want to do. Like we saw last year, we saw Xavier Legette kind of deal with a little bit of a lower body injury during the offseason as well, and it hampered him a little bit during camp. And guess what? It hampers your development as the season goes along. So hopefully everyone can stay healthy. Hopefully you all subscribe, join us every single time we put out content here on Panthers Playbook. Chris, happy Memorial Day weekend coming up, by the way.
Thank you. I will not have the day off. You will not have the day off because we got some. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, you have the day off.
I mean, I still got.
I was gonna say Carolina Hurricanes, but there's no game at home. Yeah. So I was thinking about the home game. You're going to be there, but no, you're not going to be there. It's going to be in Florida. But there will be the special show that we're doing here at WRL.
No, there you go. So make sure you stay locked in on that. Y'all be good. We'll see y'all next time. Love y'all.